Hi guys, thanks for tuning to this episode of the Nick Egan Times. On this episode, we have an incredible guest. We have the multi-talented and the queen of Spanish Harlem. We have Lumidee. Lumidee is an American rapper, singer, and songwriter. Lumidee quickly rose to fame in 2003 with the release of her smash hit song "Never Leave You," with the remix version featuring Busta Rhymes and Fabulous. Other successful hits that Lumidee has released are "Dance" featuring Fatman Scoop and "She's Like the Wind" featuring Tony Sunshine. Lumidee, and welcome, and thank you for coming on my podcast.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for that quick bio update.
You're sincerely welcome.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So yes, we're here. There's new stuff, new things going on right now. So
yeah, I know, it's very exciting.
Yes.
Tell me about your hit single that's just been released, Fría.
Oh, well, it's not a hit yet, crossing fingers, but the new joint, it's part of the album, it's definitely part of the album 1013 that I released this summer. And it's the most different that's on the project, but I felt it's very in your face, it's just me kind of not giving a shit, it's just like me just letting off some steam, so I thought it would be fun to do a visual, and we definitely went we went very different with the visual, very edgy, took some chances, so it was fun. It was an experience. Yes.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And tell me about your third official studio album, 1013.
Yes, well, 1013 so far it's my favorite, right? Just because I think I'm in the place where I know exactly who I am. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone, that comes with age, it comes with experience, it comes with knowing the business already, knowing what you're going to get out of it. So, it just really felt like almost close to my first album, because my first album at the time I was doing it was a demo, right? And then, the song blew up, and then the world got to hear my demo, so these were songs that was done just out of love. And now I feel like I'm back to that now, after the second album and releasing singles and working on other projects. 1013 is just like a labor of love and of growth, and just like getting in and having fun in the studio and connecting with a producer that understands you and you're not afraid to make mistakes, so I've just gotten to that point that it's like, what do I have to prove at this point? I just want to do good music, things that feel good to me, but like too, and the people who've grown with me on my journey, I think they would understand it.
Yeah, for sure. You've had an incredible journey, and your music's amazing. I followed it very closely since I've been young. It's music.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've loved your music.
Dope. Oh, thank you.
They used to locally we have a club here in Manly called the Bass Bar. They used to play that song all the time, when it came out.
Oh wow!
It was very, very extremely popular.
Yes.
All right, take us back. Tell me about growing up in Harlem. Your background, and how life has transpired for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, I born and raised Spanish Harlem. That's in Manhattan. For some who don't know, New York, Manhattan. But Spanish Harlem is just like this little place that's bursting with culture. And that's where I'm from. We're mixed of. Everyone is there. Right now, New York is the melting pot. It was then. It still is now. But I felt that coming up, I had some struggles coming up with my family, and it's definitely built a tough skin, and it kind of it got me ready for this industry, that's for sure, because nobody's really nice in the music business, so it was pretty much a tough upbringing, but I had a lot of brothers and sisters, and we held each other up. Spanish Harlem, what could I say? We had good times, we had dangerous times. It's a mixture of everything, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It kind of prepared me for the rest of the world and going out there and just being ready for it,
Yeah, that's incredible.
And I grew up with my grandparents, so that's one thing too, not being able to grow up with your parents and seeing them and seeing struggles that they're going through. So I think it just kind of made me want to get out there, see more, look beyond my normal, and just create, like looking at music videos, just to like tap into like how I got to this was just looking at music videos and fantasizing. Like I had at one point, like when I was younger, I would look at Madonna videos and I'd be like, what if this is not my life? What if she's really my mom and I was adopted? Like I would just think of crazy. These are things a kid goes through, you know? So I was always imagining just another life. So somehow, you know, I still live my normal life. I'm still close to my family. I'm still, you know, but I got to live this music dream, you know? And I think that's all because I was dreaming from when I was young, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You've envisioned it and you've obviously manifested it to a certain degree.
Exactly. Yes.
Tell me about, you obviously got Puerto Rican heritage, and you're, I guess, an inspiration, especially to the younger generation. How does that sit with you? And I guess, how does that feel for you?
I mean, I would, I hold that with pride. You know, I think a lot of people wouldn't like to be looked up to. Some people are like, you know, I'm not here to raise your kids. No, I'm not here to raise no one's kids but my own. But I do respect that, you know, certain people do look at you and emulate what you do, and you know, they're looking up to you. So I think it's good to set an example. You know, I mean, we can't be all squeaky clean and live for others, you know, but at the same time, like put something out that means something, you know, and for me, that's just how I live my life. I just want to be respectful and I want to be respected, and I want females in general to respect themselves. So that's something that I've always stood strong at, like just growing up. And people do try to steer you in this business, like, you know, be more sexy, be more this. Why don't you talk about this and that? And it's like, you know, if I was naturally that girl and this is how I came up, then maybe that would be. But naturally, that wasn't me, and I wasn't going to do that just to get some more clicks, you know, to get some more views or so. I had to, you know, stick to my guns. And for that, I'm happy because I have a 13-year-old daughter now, and I could play her everything I've done without feeling ashamed, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I'm glad I stuck to my guns with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell me about some of your other inspirations. You've been quoted apparently saying Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, and Mary J. Blige when you were growing up.
Yes.
Obviously helped inspire your music. Is there anyone else? And tell me about that.
I mean, well, Mary J is definitely, just watching her on the Super Bowl. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
I had tears in my eyes. It was like the greatest ever. But yeah, like Mary was definitely a very big influence because she just was so relatable. You know, she felt like the girl from around. She was the girl from around the way. She felt like that girl that you look at when you're growing up and you're like, I want to be her. You know, like she had the fresh clothes. She felt like that girl from your neighborhood that you just connected to. And just the passion in her voice and the unpolishedness, the rawness, you know, everything about Mary, I definitely connected to. And beyond that, you know, with the Lauryn Hill, with the rapping and the singing. And then, you know, I'm all over the place with it. I love Bon Jovi growing up. I love Pat Benatar. I love Madonna, you know, so I just loved music overall, you know, and if somebody, like, I love people owning who they were, you know, like really, this is who you are, just own it. You know, like Madonna, she was owning who the hell she was, even unapologetically, you know. Bon Jovi, I guess, I don't know, I had a rock star crush or something. I was a little girl, you know, I mean, and the music, the melodies were so good. So I just, yeah, I love people for different reasons, but one thing is just feeling like they're true, you know?
Yeah, 100%, being authentic and genuine. And I believe that comes across as yourself too. You're very real, you're very honest, and you're very genuine. That's the vibe I get from you.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, that's it's really important. It's hard to keep up with a lie, right?
Right.
You know, like how do you do that? You know, I've been around some people and some things that, you know, like, you know, they put it on a show, and I understand that to some extent, but it kind of runs out, and then you start seeing, and it's like, whoa, you see people lose themselves. It almost happened, you know, it almost happened to me. I had a overseas deal, and they kind of wanted me to, I was doing a lot of records that fit them, you know, over there, and a lot of cover records, and they wanted, oh, do this was a hit before, if you do it now, it'll be a hit again. And I found myself recording these records, and I was like, whoa, I'm losing myself. I'm losing my, you know, like my authentic self, like my how I'm creative. So thank God that the person I was signed to, you know, he let me off the deal. Like I mean, I respect him for that. You know, I just asked, like, listen, it's tough for me, you know, like I feel like I'm not me. I'm not me. So it can happen, but you just got to pull yourself out that shit, you know, like what's worth more, like being happy, being your true self, or having money and living a lie? You know,
100%,
like
100% couldn't agree more.
yeah, you know, you can still make money being your true self. Like it's, you know, it's just going to be a little harder. It's going to be a little more of a grind, you know, because sometimes, you know, a lot of people say they want the real, but do they really, you know, is living in this Instagram world and the filters and all. Like sometimes you throw a picture up that's like very raw and it's like, oh, people don't like it. Throw up the filter pictures, like we love this.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. That's the world we live in these days.
Yeah, so you know, we could get accustomed. You know, you got to move with the times a little, obviously, but still stay true. You know.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
Tell me about. I want to ask you, with obviously your first hit that you did, "Never Leave You." Tell me how that began, like how that journey, because you were very young when that came out as well. Tell me about all that story, because I know that's very interesting. I'd love to know how that worked.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was let me see. Well, first it's just a love song of like me first really falling in love, you know, and it was a record we had recorded. Like I was at the time, I was signed to a local DJ. Like, you know, he was from my neighborhood. He heard that I rapped, and at the time, he was just like, he was popular in the clubs and stuff. So he was like trying to start his little team and everything. He built the studio, and you know, we just started recording. And I was rapping, and then he heard the songs that I was writing, and he was like, "Yeah, I love your rapping, but you write songs." To him, it was like very different. And I'm like, you know, being that I didn't have this big, you know, powerful voice, I always leaned more towards the rap. But something, you know, he seen something in the singing. He seen something that was like, oh, you know, do this, but I like this a lot. And we just started recording records, and you know, being that he was a DJ, it was cool to do things like remix stuff. So we had this record. I recorded "Never Leave You." First, originally it was Honestly. It's on the first album called Honestly. And I don't know who I thought I was. I was like, yay. I called him one day. I said, listen, I did a remix for Honestly, right? I did a remix for my own record. This is the Diddy days where everything was a remix, you know? So I'm like, I did a remix for it. And I kept hitting him like, I want to record it. So we recorded it, but it was on a beat that was like, you know, after I recorded it, I had these big hopes for it. And then I was like, this is really nothing, right? This ain't shit, right? So it was like, and one day we was in the studio, just, you know, always recording stuff. And he was like, he played the Diwali rhythm. And he's like, this rhythm is hot right now. Record something on this. At the time, I was like going through this little situation with my boyfriend at the time. And it was like, I don't feel like writing right now. I don't feel like creating another record. And Never Leave You popped in my mind, you know? So I was like, oh, I think Never Leave You would go to this. Like, let's just put the vocals on it. He was like, you being lazy, you know? Like, why are you like, well, you just don't want to record? And I'm like, no, I think it really would go. So he took the vocals and he started making it fit, you know? And that's why it has this different drop to it and beat. So he started trying to make it fit. And after it was like, this is off, but this is on. You know what I mean? Wow. Like it's not perfect, but it's hitting, you know? So, and me, I was like, oh, okay, another day I don't gotta work, you know, I don't gotta record right now. So he started playing it in the clubs, you know, and he was, like I said, he was pretty popular in our area, you know, like, so the clubs were packed, and they knew kind of the records that we were already recording, and it just took. He started playing it in the club, and it was like, whoa. And then we started getting bookings, and then we burnt up CDs and started giving it out locally, and DJs were requesting it, and people started calling the radio to hear it. So it was pretty much, it was a movement behind the record that happened authentically, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it
for
was
sure.
nothing was forced about it, and it just fucking took off like wildfire. Before I even could like get, pull myself together, like, are you ready to jump in this, girl? Like, are you ready? Like,
Right.
and it was like, and then the rest is history, like once the radios were playing this constantly, people are requesting it. It was already a hit without it being a hit, and this is when the record companies start calling, and the bidding wars started happening. And yeah, that's where it happened. And then
Wow.
we landed the deal with Universal.
Wow. Do you think?
So it was, it was like a kind of like a Cinderella type story, kind of. I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely can understand. How can you describe the feeling? Obviously, when you started seeing it in the charts and hitting the Billboard charts, obviously that's a massive achievement. And do you think at your age you were mature enough to handle obviously all the big things that were happening around you in the world?
No, I was not. I wasn't. And not just my age, just the lack of knowledge of the business.
Right.
And also coming in with someone who didn't have knowledge of the business themselves, and they kind of running your career. So it's kind of like we're just going on this wave, and I'm just going along with the choices they're making without me knowing I had the power to make the choices. I didn't know. I'm like, okay, they make the decisions for me. I'm signed to them. I didn't know. I don't got to sign to this company. I could sign to this one because they're signing me. I didn't know these things, I just was like going with it. And like I said, like, at the time, it was just the lack of knowledge and knowing. It was just like them telling you, strike while the iron's hot, and you got to do this, you got to do that, instead of kind of building on it, But I to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way, because who knew if it would have went another route, these people would have been around me a little longer, and I got to see them for who they were. Like it went south. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After it, you start seeing people for who they are once they feel like things are fizzling down and they don't know what to do. And then you see them leave your side and you're like, oh, what's going on? Like, why we're not going at this? We still have, and so it just made me grow stronger and on my own, and just realizing, you got to have your own back.
Yeah.
You gotta, and it took me a long time to realize that. And this is why, like, now I'm like, man, fuck proving shit to people, because they'll all leave you behind anyway at some point, so you gotta always be good with you and your choices.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. Obviously it would have built character, and definitely, as you said, like, you would have learned a lot from that experience, and you got to have your own back, especially obviously the industry you're in, right? It's cutthroat.
Yeah, it really is. And I learned right away, like I learned it right away. As soon as I jumped in, it was like, as soon as you come in with the hit, they're beating you down. Like, you can't get another one. You can't do this again. And I think people didn't realize, no matter what, I never had a record as big as Uh-Oh again, but I still had the staying power. Like, Uh-Oh is still spoken about to this day, right? People thought it was going to be a write-off, and 20 using it, I'm still able to just not just live off of this, but be able to sustain my music career off of this and continue to put out music and do the things that I love to do, because it's something that I did almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've also had other hits. Dance, obviously that was the 2006
Oh yes,
World Cup
that's
anthem.
what I mean. I was able to continue and get these other records that were hits. People don't, how it is. If it's not as big as that, it's not, they don't even want to acknowledge it. But like I said, I've lived my life, so I know that I've been successful in music, and I'm grateful for that, So dance was a great experience, the FIFA World Cup, being a part of that. I didn't even know how big FIFA World Cup was, until after the fact. Like, the soccer, I didn't realize this is the biggest sport in the world. I'm coming from New York. We say football is football, right? It's not like soccer, So me learning all these things and realizing I had this record that was a part of this, I didn't know how big, and how much of an honor that was to have the record for the FIFA World Cup in Germany,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you've got a massive fan base in Europe too now, I guess, off the back of that, with the other music and your touring there.
Yes.
You've got a
Yes.
massive European fan base.
No, I mean, I love Europe. I always say it's my second home. They kept me alive, man. You know, like it definitely kept me alive. It kept me going. I think it helped, it built my stage presence. You know, I toured so much and I continue to do shows and shows over there throughout the years that I've grown so much more confidence on the stage. You know, like that was one thing I definitely in the beginning lacked that confidence, you know, because being told, oh, you're not a great singer, you're not this. I didn't realize just own that stage when you get up there. Fuck what any, you know, as long as you own it, you have fun, you engage your audience, you know, shit doesn't have to be perfect, you know, just not boring.
Yeah, exactly. 100%, 100%.
Yeah, you know, and all you could do is do your best, you know, be the best version of you. So that's what I've just been working on, being the best version of me, you know, and getting better at my skill. So
yeah, 100%. Tell me about the other hit too. She's Like the Wind. I love that song too. Growing up.
Yes, She's Like the Wind happened. That's I was signed to the European label. This was one of those things that came to me like the cover record. You know, we know this record from Dirty Dancing, and it's like, you know, it was a classic. It was Patrick Swayze. You know, so at first I was like, well, She's Like the Wind. The idea was brought to me, and I'm like, how do we make this cool, right? Like for now, how do I make this cool? And Tony Sunshine, you know, he was with Fat Joe. He's part of that crew and everything. And he's just this great singer, cool guy. Anybody who sees him thinks he's cool, you know? So, you know, and I have recently, it's weird how the universe works, right? A week before I got this record and they were like, you know, wanting me to do this, I ran into Tony Sunshine at a Nori video shoot for Masmai, right? So Tony Sunshine was like, when are we gonna do something? So boom, the next week this came up and it was like, Tony Sunshine is the guy for this, you know?
Wow.
And and then reached out to him and he just murdered it, you know? And then I was like, okay, I'm comfortable now to do this, you know? And I added my rap verses, I added my little melodies to it. And and it's weird because it almost became this, you know, coming from Patrick Swayze, but me and Tony both being Puerto Rican, right? It became this thing that Latin people in New York love so much, you know? So it's almost like a Latin anthem, even though it's not Latin, but just us being these two Puerto Ricans that got on this record and got on this very pop, where else to place it record and just flip it the way we did. Yeah, I think it is great. And some people don't even know where it comes from. You know, they think me and Tony just, you know, She's Like the Wind. Tony wrote those parts, you know? Yeah. You know?
That's amazing. What do you prefer to do, rapping or singing? Because you do both, and that's just an amazing, you know, you're multi-talented there. What do you prefer to do?
I mean, to be honest, at this point, when I was younger, it was rapping, right? Because I was like more aggressive. And I grew up a tomboy, so I was always trying to be tough. So it fit me more. Now I do like to do it here and there when it calls for it. You know, when I feel like, all right, this calls for a little rap verse here, this calls for a rap verse there. But now I'm just so much more attracted to the melodies and writing songs. Like I could write a song like this. But as far as with the rap verses, not that I can't write them as fast as before, but it's like it's so different now, the content of rapping and what girl I'm about now. So I don't want to say I feel out of place, but I'm just not trying to do that. So I'll do a little bit of it and, you know, just mix it up like I always do. But I think where the songwriting is for me more important, like the melodies and all that. I just love that. I feel like it just reels people in, you know? And then hit them with a little aggression because then they're like, oh, that's the power, you know?
Yeah, for sure. What inspires you daily?
What inspires me? You know, so being a mom is a big difference in doing music, right? Because now it's like I'm very selective with the things I do, with the shows I take, with all the choices that I make. So and just wanting to leave behind a good legacy for my children, you know, for my kids. I have a 1-year-old right now. I have a 1-year-old son. So thankful to the pandemic. People had babies during the pandemic. I was one of them, you know. So I have a son, a 1-year-old son, and a 13-year-old daughter. So that is that inspires me. That keeps me motivated. It keeps me pushing. It keeps me wanting to constantly and not reinvent, but it happens. It just happens, you know, because as they're growing, you're growing with them, and you're changing as they're changing. So I think it just motivates me to continue to grow, you know, and do more, and just like, just be a better example for them too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so you had some health issues too when you were younger. How did that affect you growing up as well?
Oh, I mean, the gift and the curse is like, you know, that's how most of my life been. Like, it's always a hardship to get to the good part, you know. And I got rheumatoid arthritis really early in my life, and I don't know how the hell, what happened. It's not inherited. Like, at some point, just you know, my bones started getting, like, you know what arthritis is. It's usually an old person's disease, you know, like your grandparents have this and stuff. And I got this at 13 years old, like 13 turning 14 years old. I got this. So it was just weird, and it put like a freeze on my life, like, because at some point I got so bad, like I couldn't even write. I had to get home instruction, you know. I couldn't finish school, you know, and then the hanging out with the friends kind of had to stop. Like, I couldn't move around, function. And I think that's what, I know for a fact that pause got me into writing, you know. It got me into writing down my feelings and writing down poetry, which ultimately these poems became songs. So it was like, if I didn't get sick with what was happening in my life at that time, you know, my dad had just passed away, and my friends were running wild, and we're out there in the street. Like, who knows what would have became of me if God didn't say, hold up, you're home, you're sick, you can't do nothing, deal with your feelings, you know, and deal with the feelings of being a teenager that can't hang out, that can't, you know, do all the things that a normal teenager is doing. And and that's where I developed the skill for writing, you know, just being stuck at home with nothing but that, you know, and your feelings, and just writing that shit down. Yeah. So it was the gift and the curse, you know. So I'm thankful for this fucking, you know, limiting thing that I have that's now not limited because I got it under control. Thankful, you know, to different medicines and all these different trials and tribulations and different things that I've taken. But I'm good now, you know. I went through the steroids, the prednisone, that swelled me up. That got, you know, all the stages of, they thought I had lupus. It was a little struggle, but like I said, I always look at the bright side of it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It gave me the skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, you can just see, like, you're on another level now. Like, obviously everything that you described and explained that you've gone through has obviously made you the person you are, and you're very humble, and you got a lot of humility, and it's amazing, your personality and the way you carry yourself.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's like it's a growing process, right? Like, really just being honest with yourself and knowing where you at in life, and where you want to go, and just like being a decent human being, you know what I mean? Don't think your shit doesn't stink. You know, you're normal just like anybody else. You know, you just do this thing, and you know, and you have to kind of present it out there to people, and it's a little challenging. You hoping people like it and stuff, but at the same time, you just got to keep it moving. You know, that's it.
Yeah, no, you're definitely very likable. Tell me about collaborating and working with other high-profile, I guess, musicians in the industry. What was that like in the experience?
Yeah, well, that was so. It's like I was starstruck every time. Like, you know, first meeting Busta Rhymes was like, oh my God, I didn't even know how to speak Like I didn't even know how to speak. I can't remember what I said, and if I did, I'm sure it was something dumb, like, so I still get like that. But people like Nori that I grew up like loving, having their posters on my wall, it's crazy that then you become, like friends with these people and doing work with them. Being able to have a record with Snoop Dogg, like we just seen Snoop Dogg right now, right?
Right, yeah.
I literally, like, Snoop Dogg said my name, right? He says Lumidee on a record. He did a record with me. He could have said, nah, I'm not doing a record with her. He did a record with me, So I think I've been blessed to work with some amazing people, and them say, yeah, I'll do a record with her. Why not? Styles P, all these legends in the game, like Shaggy, like Pitbull, like it's just like Wyclef, and then up to the Davies, the Bodega Bams, like, so it's just like through all the stages in my life, like I feel like I've been blessed for to work with great people, so yeah, I'm definitely lucky. I want to say I'm a lucky girl. Yeah
for sure. Have you done many concerts, and tell me about them and the memories you can recall?
Oh, the concerts I've done?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to, the most memorable for me is Lebanon. I did Lebanon, and I was so scared, right? Because at the time, us, like the Middle East, like now you go to the Middle East, you go to Dubai, you go to Beirut, it's even nice, but at the time, the only idea I had of it was like war, and the things you see on the news, So they offered the show, and it was a festival, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And they kept like raising the money up, and it was like, man, do I want to do this? Or do I? And then I spoke to, like, I had my dancers at the time that I trusted, and I was like, do y'all want to go there? They're like, hell yeah, let's go, So we went, and I have to say it was scary going in, them checking in the hotels, like the trunks, and people, like, it's literally like very militant over there, So, but the show experience, like, I thought it was in and out. Like, I didn't even really work on my outfit. I was just so scared, like, let's just do this and get out. And when the response to the show was so overwhelming that I like lost my breath on the stage, like literally the way the people were screaming, and afterwards, like, they wanted me to do more. And I just was like, I'm so mad I didn't create even a longer set. Like, I didn't even imagine they would know my music or be that excited to see me,
Wow.
So, and then me having this fear of going to this place, and like the love that they gave me was like unmatched at that point. Like, I never received that amount that, the raw, like, you probably been to a concert and you hear the roars and you feel it through your body, and you like, whoa, like the energy, that shit was crazy. That was crazy. So that's the most memorable show for me. Like, and I just, where I wish, like, damn, I wish I would have gave them even more, but they were happy, they were happy, like, but it was an experience. And it just kind of told me, like, to like see things for yourself, because I don't want to say I was judging it, but by looking at the news and the things I'm told over here, living in the US, I had a different idea of it, and going over there, I was like, wow, these fucking people are amazing. They're beautiful. They're great. They're welcoming, it wasn't what I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies and passions aside from music? What do you like to do in your downtime?
Oh gosh. Okay. I love to cook, I love to cook. I love making things, creating things. Like, I'm horrible. Like, I make candles and shit, like, like I'll make scented candles. I make hot sauces. I'll do these things. I'm obsessed with any, like, film shows. Like, once I get a chance, like, oh, there's nothing, I don't have to do anything, I'm like locking in, I'm binge watching anything on Netflix. I'm like, yeah. So I just love normal shit. I love cooking. I love great movies. I love series, I love drama. I'm a drama queen. I love everything drama. And yeah, so it's pretty much like, I would say those are my hobbies are like creating and watching things, and watching other people's creations, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Where
Yeah.
you've obviously done a lot of traveling. Where's your favorite places to travel to?
I have to say, I guess Middle East is like my number one, right? Because like I said, I've traveled to Dubai a lot after, and I gotta say I've had the most fun there. And maybe because the experience, like I have a good friend out there, shout out to Seawolf, right? Because he just gives you this experience you will never get. You know, if I could have went to Dubai on my own, right? I've done shows and I have great shows there, but like he's that guy, like he takes you out and you go to these places and it's like, wow, you come back to New York and you feel so dull. You're like, oh, okay, back to this. It's like, yeah, it's like you're out there and it's like, oh, this guy right there in that corner, yeah, he's the prince of this. And this guy right here, he's this. And you're like, what the fuck? This is real. You know, like you're really out here with these people, and it's like, oh yeah, this prince guy wants to take a picture with you, and you're like, he's a prince of what and who? Oh, his dad is this, and they own oil, and it's outrageous, you know. So I think I've had, and just the long nights, like partying all the way to the morning. Like I'm not a party girl, but when I go out there, I'm like, I will risk sleeping, you know, just to hang out with you know, with this guy because he's always giving you an experience, you know. So yeah, I'd say Dubai has been like great. Like if you know the right people in Dubai, yeah, it's good. It's great.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
what other projects are you working on currently, and what does the future look like for Lumidee?
Oh, the future looks like just growing more into like things beyond me just being an artist, you know. I love like I said, I love creating. I love just music, period. So more behind the scenes, you know, I want to do more behind the scenes. I want to get in there more, like just like with arranging and producing, and obviously I can't do the beats, right? I can't do all that, but I hear them in my head, you know. So just a little bit more of that, and these other things that I want to expand on, you know. Like I did tell you, you know, I'm working on like an edible line, and definitely how would I call it? Like a wellness line, like everything kind of organic, like so things like the scented candles with soy and all these things that are good for your hair and your skin. So these are all things that I have in the works now that I'm just looking forward to pushing them out there without the fear of people saying, oh, you're doing that. It's like, man, people do everything now, you know? So I just don't want to limit myself to just feeling that, you know, this is the only thing. So putting all that out, and one real big goal I have is getting a license. It's embarrassing, but I don't have a license. So I'm tired of, you know, calling lifts and having people wait for people to come and drive me. So I need a license. Yeah. So that is 2022 goals. Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sure
So
you're
not
gonna
even
smash
for the
it.
year. Yes. I need that now. I need the license ASAP. Yeah.
You're gonna make it
Yes.
happen. I know you are.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, and just more, and just doing more things I love. That's it, you know. More passion projects and things that I love to do. That's it.
That's awesome. Well, the music industry from when you first came out to obviously where it's at now and going into the future, where do you see it, and how has that changed dramatically for you that you've seen?
Oof. It is definitely changed dramatically where there's just so much content right now. There's so many options for people to go other places and listen to other people. Like it's a lot, you know, and then there's like a lot of good stuff out there. Then how do you find it, and how do people find you nowadays, you know? So that's been the challenge. And me coming from the time I come from, like, I'm not great on social media. I got to get better. You know, I only do Instagram and I barely do that. So just trying to be active in this world of like posting and, you know, showing yourself. It's almost like we will call it back then, like you're a narcissist, right? right? Like just
Yeah.
posting yourself constantly. But it's like now it's like promo. You have to do this for yourself now, especially being independent. So that's the beauty of it, that we have these tools. But for me, it's just a little bit struggling, you know. But I would say, and where is it going? I think I love that people have this access, right, to be able to promote themselves. But it's like too much access, and it's too much out there, and I don't know that it's so great where it's going. You understand? Like
Right,
I mean, I would like to say that it's great where it's going, but it's just so mixed up with the bashing, and now people online, and the cruelty. It's not always, you know, it's not all great. It's very challenging now to be an artist. Before, it's like, I just don't read that magazine. Now it's like in your face when people are talking shit, and people are, you know, it's like you got to really have that tough skin, you know, and your mental got to be right. So I mean, lucky I come from the old school, so I'm already built for this shit. But I think the kids nowadays are, you know, is getting to them. That's why it's. I just hope I don't know, things get monetized in a better way, and it's not so easy to, I don't know, be so fucking evil online to people.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because you know, people are out here just trying to work. You don't like it, cool. You don't have to leave a comment about what you don't like, but it's very like kill yourself things, you know. So it's just weird. It's weird where it's going. I hope it gets better, but I think it's not aiming in the best directions. But I mean, there's so much talented people out here. So I'm just hoping people keep their eye on the talent and just continue to push forward, and don't get caught up in this rabbit hole of just trying to be popular, you know, and just trying to be for the moment, because it's about the longevity and the staying power, I think, you know. Sometimes like and the longevity in your music, like, are people going to play that shit that you're talking 10 years from now, 20 years from now? I don't know, you know.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think's given Lumidee longevity too?
What happened?
What do you think has given you longevity?
Oh, I guess like I said, at the time, it was just being truthful, right? Being true to my feelings, and love never gets played out, right? So at the beginning, right? Yeah, Never Leave You was a record that was big because the clubs made it big, and it had this beat and everything, but ultimately it was a love song. So, you know, love to me is and those feelings and emotions and how you go through the ups and downs of it is just always going to be. So I think it connects. And I think at the time, I think I came at a perfect time in an era before things started switching, that when people look back, they have these feelings of where they were then. And it's like, shit, I love, you know, I grew up to this. And I think that's what it is. I think the connection that people have to certain records at a certain time, that it just brings them back to a better time in the world, you know? Yeah. So I think I was lucky to be born when I was born, and lucky for the time and when I started working to be working, you know. It's just like I keep saying the Super Bowl. I watched the Super Bowl performance, and literally I'm like, why am I crying? Right? I had tears in my eyes at the end. I'm like, why the fuck am I crying? And it's like, it took me back to my childhood. It took me back to that time when things were not as complicated, right? Where the world seemed, you know, we always had shit in the world, but where it seemed a little more simple. You knew what, you understood what was happening. So it just took me right back to being a kid. So I think that's what gives, you know, the people we seen at the Super Bowl, the staying power. And I think that's you know, that's the same luck I've had with this record, you know, ultimately. And I'm just gonna continue on, you know.
Awesome. To your point too, how everyone watched the Super Bowl in the halftime. Everyone I've spoken to has basically said the same thing that you just said. Like, you know, it really takes everyone back to their childhood, reminds them of the days, and really, really enjoyed it. Like, it's incredible. Yeah. Yes,
it was such a feeling of, right? And when music was like, shit, it was just, you know, I don't know. It was different. I mean, like I said, there's amazing artists and things now, but man, these are icons.
Right.
You know, like hopefully, you know, I don't know if there's so much artists coming out every day that I don't know if we're gonna get that round of icons like this again, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And obviously they're getting older too, a couple of them. So time's going
Exactly.
as well, right?
Yes. So it's gotta come, you know, it gotta keep going. It gotta keep going. So that's why I just hope that the future looks brighter, a little bit brighter for just the world, period. Because music is always gonna be. Music is the one thing we fucking need to keep going, you know?
Who did you go for in the Super Bowl out of curiosity?
Yeah. Huh?
Who did you go for in the Super Bowl out of curiosity?
Oh my God. Okay, a friend of mine, like I went out to eat with them and they were so passionate about the team that I think they haven't went to the Super Bowl in like
Cincinnati.
20 years or something. So that's who I was going for on their behalf, but they lost. Yeah, it was sad. I was like, damn, I so wanted them to win because like they were so passionate and emotional that they finally made it. And yeah, man, they didn't get it. So, you know, I always root for the underdogs.
Right, that's exactly right. Always go for the underdogs.
The underdogs.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, Lumidee, thanks for coming on my podcast. I do appreciate it. I've had an incredible time talking to you and everything you shared.
So did I. Like, this was great. This was great. You're a great interviewer, very calm, cool. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Okay. All right. Take care, Nick.
See ya.
Bye-bye.